Dave Ryan, December 17th, 73. This weekly show. Catch us Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. I am Ryan. As always, David, thank you for your time.
I didn't expect Ryan to do that. Ryan, we had a comment in the comment section basically telling us that we need to do a little less driving off-road and drive more on-road. We need to get to the point, Ryan.
Who said this?
I don't know, some guy. I told him I appreciate the feedback.
All right.
Sometimes we do. I'm not going to lie, we get a little off track, but it's hard not to.
So many things tie into each other.
I know.
But I will do better.
But fuck you. We're going to be so on track. Wait till you see this shit. Ryan, we've been covering Twitter files. We've covered all of them, and I continue to plan on covering all of them. Some of our good friends that we've heard names from the Twitter files, Yoel Roth and Eugenia Gaddy, or whatever the fuck her name is. Here's the deal. They are getting questioned by Congress, as they should. I got a couple of clips put together of some people just absolutely our favorite word, Ryan, slamming the members of Twitter here.
Does anybody have a comment on how much interaction was happening with the Biden team at Twitter with respect to tweets that they wanted Twitter to review? Ms. Gaddy, Mr. Roth?
I'm not familiar with this email.
So you're not familiar with this email, Mr. Roth? Are you familiar with this email?
Only from what's been reported in the Twitter files.
Did you ever have contact with anybody from the Biden team?
No, sir, I did not. We explicitly separated the teams that would interact with campaigns from teams like mine that were responsible for content moderation.
How big was the organization in Twitter that was actually working with campaigns?
I couldn't say for sure.
Did you ever have any contact with the DNC?
Directly? No, I did not.
Sir, did you even work at Twitter? At what point? Are we just going to ask him, do you even know what was happening there? Did you even show up to work at any day?
Remote worker, probably, David. And also, for the record, for people who don't know, it's called plausible deniability. Everything that he just said.
Yeah, that's exactly what he was. He was instructed to do it by his lawyer. Let's be clear.
Yeah, that, or in whatever position, he knew what was going to go on downstream or upstream from him. He just didn't. Oh, I didn't handle that. I didn't. This is like you involved in murder.
Does anybody have a comment on
stain on you? Sorry, David.
No, you're good.
How much interaction was happening with the Biden team at Twitter with respect to tweets that they wanted Twitter to review? Ms. Gaddy, Mr. Roth?
I'm not familiar with this email.
I went backwards.
So you're not familiar?
No, sir, I did not. We explicitly separated the teams that would interact with campaigns from teams like mine that were responsible for content moderation.
How big was the organization in Twitter that was actually working with campaigns?
I couldn't say for sure.
Did you ever have any contact with the DNC?
Directly? No, I did not.
Did anybody at Twitter have any contact with anybody at the DNC?
I think it's likely that somebody at Twitter did, yes.
In these emails, it's listed these are tweets that had to be flagged from the Biden team. That's what's in the files. You have no idea how many people actually engage with the Twitter team or how frequently that engagement happened.
No, and again, that was by design. We kept those functions separate from content moderation so that we could impartially assess reports like this.
Do you know how many tweets were actually flagged and taken down at the behest of the Biden team?
I wouldn't agree with the characterization of it as being at the behest of them. These tweets were reported, and Twitter independently evaluated them under its rules.
But the email is very clear. More to review from Biden team. The response 3 hours later at the bottom, hold this up real quick so we can see. The request at the bottom, it says, handled these. What does handled these mean?
My understanding is that these tweets contained non-consensual nude photos of Hunter Biden, and they were removed by the company under.
Hold on, real quick, Mr. Roth. How could you know so much about the content of these tweets? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, these are just web addresses. I don't know what's in these tweets. You have these things committed to memory that you know the content, but you don't know who you talk to at the Biden team?
Bottom line is that the FBI had the Biden crime family laptop for a year. They knew it was leaking. They knew it would hurt the Biden campaign. So the FBI used its relationship with Twitter to suppress criminal evidence being revealed about Joe Biden 1 month before the 2020 elections. You, ladies and gentlemen, interfered with the United States of America 2020 presidential election, knowingly and willingly. That's the bad news. It's going to get worse because this is the investigation part. Later comes the arrest part. Your attorneys are familiar with that.
Miss Gaddy, did either of you approve the shadow banning of my account at Lauren Boebert?
This
Yes or
woman's
no?
attitude
No,
is
I did not.
incredible.
Not to the best of my recollection.
Well, let me refresh your memory because on March 12th, 2021, and Mr. Roth, I know you looked at it because Fascist Twitter 1.0 had a public interest exceptions policy, which means for members of Congress to be shadow banned, it had to go before you, Mr. Roth. So I'll ask again, did you shadow ban my account? Yes or no?
Again, not to the best of my recollection.
So the answer is, Mr. Roth, yes, you did. I found out last night from Twitter staff that you suppressed my account for this tweet. It's a freaking joke about Hillary Clinton being angry that she couldn't rig her election. It's a joke. But in response, being the sinister overlords that you all are, you placed a 90-day account filter so I could not be found. And now we see here that Twitter staff said the visibility filter on my account excluded me from top searches, prevented notifications for non-followers, and much more. This is considered an aggressive visibility filter. You silenced members of Congress from communicating with their constituents. You silenced me from communicating with the American people over a freaking joke. Now, who the hell do you think that you are? Election interference? Yeah, I would say that that was taking place because of you four sitting here. The Hunter Biden laptop story was suppressed. A sitting member of Congress was suppressed. A sitting president was banned from Twitter. You know, I bet that Putin is sitting in the Kremlin wishing he had as much election interference as you four here today. We've heard about threats to democracy. Well, what about shutting down a duly elected member of Congress? This is fundamental to our nation's governance, and you all attacked that very foundation.
Just real quick. I
The
like
Putin
where
reference made no sense. Honestly.
yeah, I
The
like
guy-
I like where she's going with it, but to be fair, Putin literally killed political opposition. So I'm
Like
just saying.
he
He
blew up
literally
a
killed
whole
him, like murdered him.
he blew up a whole apartment building.
Yeah. So
Like
all right, I get it.
230
I get
protections? Well, those are for publishers.
So glad that you're censored down. I'm so glad you've lost your jobs. Thank God Elon Musk bought Twitter. And you know what? Let's talk about something a little bit further. It's amazing to me, Mr. Roth, as the head and trust of safety at Twitter, your ability, or should I say inability, to remove child porn. Now, here's something that disgusts me about you. In your doctoral dissertation entitled Gay Data, you argued that minors should have access to Grindr, an adult male gay hookup app.
To be fair, that's
Minors?
because Yoel Roth was
Really?
definitely on Grindr.
You know, Elon Musk took over Twitter and he banned 44,000 accounts that were promoting child porn. You permanently banned my Twitter account, but you allowed child porn all over Twitter. Twitter had become a platform, you said, connecting queer young adults. You also wrote on Twitter in 2010, can high school students ever meaningfully consent to sex with their teachers? In 2021, while you were the director of trust and safety on Twitter, an underage boy and his mother announced a lawsuit against Twitter because Twitter was benefiting from and refused to remove a lewd video featuring this boy and another minor. That is repulsive.
So it was a bad day for former Twitter execs that we love to read so much about. They got slammed, Ryan.
who's the second last girl that spoke, the hot girl?
Lauren Boebert from Colorado.
If she is ever divorced. Second of all,
I'll get you her number.
serious question though. How do you like being ran by multinational corporations that sit offshore and away from our laws? And there's nobody, you can't arrest anybody because it's a company, publisher. It's by all these umbrella organizations with all these different paddings. And when our people that we elect to represent us go before these people, they can just shoot everything down with "I'm unfamiliar," whether or not that's. I know it's their lawyer. You have the right.
Right.
To not,
Which, yeah, of course they're familiar.
right, but they are participating in the very systems that dismantle the very thing they're using to defend themselves, which is the United States Constitution. And then I have to see them use the Constitution to defend themselves against such arbitrary. They know.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Plead the fifth.
Yeah,
Do
these
it.
people know exactly what they're doing. And I don't honestly, like, as great as she was, what's her name?
Lauren Boebert?
Lauren Boebert. As great as she is, like, I know where she was going, but like, honestly, you wasted time.
Well, you only get 5 minutes, so.
Yeah, I know. She could have had 5. She like, this is what's hard with these things, right? Because you never know it's a soundbite and everything else. And also, I was realizing
But
when
I think
that woman was,
yeah, that's what she was going for, though. To be clear, she was going for a soundbite for sure.
I know, but I hate it. Not that I'm going to sit here and listen to 3 hours of these people grill somebody who's just going to lie through his teeth. But whoever that older guy was that said that they directly interfered in the the election. You and I said the same thing, David. So
Yeah,
I'm glad that as pseudo intellectuals on our couch that we now have sitting members of Congress that have this very same similar ideology when it comes to the very same practices that these companies are portraying. Because you know what, honestly, I think him and I are seeing the same thing, David, as well as you.
Speaking of pseudo intellectuals, not to go too far away from what we're talking about, which is Twitter colluding with the government to censor speech and interfere in elections. What was that thing that came out recently? The news story that broke recently that we also were right about.
Oh,
Nord Stream. Now, to be clear, there's no evidence that the U.S. did it, but I'm pretty confident we said on the show, I think the U.S. did it in reference to the Nord Stream exploding on its own. Pretty sure we did it, right? We, as in the United States.
It's just unbelievable. And I said this about Rand Paul, right? He was getting the PPE thing going on. We talked about last week, if I'm not mistaken. And Rand Paul also got a lot of high-profile attention with the NIH gain-of-function research.
There was no gain-of-function research.
Dr. Paul, you're mistaken. I bring them up because I said about that when you confront these people, they're just going to lie. You know?
That's right. But you just
like look at these people. Look at the people they're questioning. You think those people are really? You think that little dork is behind? You diabolical? No, they're not the guys. They have a job. You can't even get the real people in there. We don't even know the real people to question in front of Congress about who's setting ideologies at the Twitter board of elections committees and
Well, that's the real problem, Ryan. And as much as I love seeing the Twitter folk get absolutely drilled by Congress, who was telling Twitter to silence the speech? That's the bigger problem. The bigger problem was the federal government was colluding with Twitter to say silence the speech. I don't want to see Twitter getting interviewed. I mean, I do. But I want to see the people at the FBI who had the direct link to Twitter who was saying silence the speech. Find out who that guy was. That guy needs to be answering questions. That guy violated the First Amendment. Those
people getting questioned, their only job is to take the fall for the problem. That's it. That's the guy's only job. You think Twitter was just going to sit there and tick away and silence sitting members of Congress and a former sitting president and nothing was going to happen? Nobody was going to dig in it. Twitter's seen the writing on the wall. You think they didn't want to sell Twitter to Musk? The big fish is YouTube. I told you guys this. Twitter is nothing to these people. They have it already. Twitter gets their all the stuff from YouTube, from Google. Twitter was a small fish. This is the distraction. Everybody about the distraction with the balloon. The distraction is you're falling for this little fish. We think we got him. We got Twitter because Musk. Thank God Musk bought Twitter. Let's not talk about how we can't even really buy the social media platforms that we're supposed to be fighting against. We don't have enough money in the country.
Thomas Massey had said that Elon Musk bought a crime scene, which I think is the perfect way to put it.
Wow, that is a powerful thought right there.
Hoping to see a lot more from this. Again, I like seeing these clips. I like seeing.
It's also true. It's vindicated. It's great. It feels great. Good job, victory and liberty. Yeah. I don't mean to sit here and piss in our sunshine, but what are we talking about? Like, what are we talking about? Other than Dave Ryan, December 17th, 73, weekly show Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. I will be here. Dave will be here. YouTube, Rumble, Facebook. Thank you guys, as always. And as well, David, for your time.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ryan.